Yo, we are getting big news about what's next with Giannis dealt. Like an all-out bidding war for Jaylen Brown. Where's he gonna end up? But at least the most annoying trade ever is finally over. Like Giannis posted 4 months ago, legends don't chase, they attract.
One player scored 83 points in a single game, second most in NBA history. And it wasn't the strangest thing about this Miami Heat season. Chapter 1, the divorce. To understand what this team became, you have to start with what it destroyed. For 5 years, the Miami Heat were Jimmy Butler's team. He arrived in 2019 and dragged a roster nobody rated to the NBA Finals in the bubble, then did it again in 2023 as an 8th seed. The perfect Heat culture player, mean, relentless, unbothered by the odds. Then the contract talks failed, and the whole thing came apart in public. Watch how fast it collapses. January 2nd, 2025. Butler tells reporters he no longer believes he can be happy playing in Miami. The next day, the Heat suspend him for 7 games, citing multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team, and confirm in an official statement that Butler and his representative have requested a trade. He comes back on the 17th, and 5 days after that, he misses the team flight to Milwaukee. Suspended again. 2 more games. And then, on January 27th, the one that ends it. Butler walks out of practice after finding out that Haywood Highsmith is replacing him in the starting lineup. The Heat suspend him indefinitely, without pay, for a minimum of 5 games. Do the math on that number, and you understand exactly what it was. 5 games took him to the trade deadline. In the first week of February, he was gone, shipped to Golden State in a 5-team deal that brought back Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, Davion Mitchell, and a protected first-round pick. Remember Davion Mitchell, he matters at the end of this story. Butler then declined his player option and signed a 2-year extension with the Warriors worth $121 million. The extension Miami wouldn't give him, somebody else handed him inside of a month. Pat Riley described the split himself, and he didn't dress it up. 2 alphas in the same room. Sometimes it doesn't work. Chapter 2, what was left? Here's the thing about wreckage. Sometimes you have to see the floor before you can build on it. That 2024-25 season finished 37-45. Miami's first losing record since 2018-19. By any normal measure, a failure. And then the Heat did something no franchise had ever done. They finished 10th. The absolute bottom rung of the play-in tournament, the slot nobody survives. They beat Chicago. Then they went to Atlanta and won in overtime, and became the first 10 seed in NBA history to play its way into the actual playoffs. 6th straight postseason appearance for a team publicly humiliated by its own best player. Then Cleveland swept them in 4, because of course they did, but that's the tell. Both things at the same time, they clawed into a series nobody thought they belonged in and got embarrassed the moment they arrived. That's Miami, and it's about to happen again on a bigger stage. Chapter 3, the man who wouldn't flinch. May 9th, 2025. Pat Riley walks to the podium for his end-of-season press conference at 80 years old, and everyone in the room is waiting for an apology. He doesn't offer one. Not for saying no on the extension, not for the season. He tells them the Heat probably won't run it back, that changes are coming philosophically and personnel-wise, and he moves on. Understand who's talking. The Heat had just put his name on the floor. Pat Riley Court at Kaseya Center. And here's the detail that got lost that season, because it happened in another city. That February, the Los Angeles Lakers unveiled a bronze statue of Pat Riley outside Crypto.com Arena, between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, the first non-player in Lakers history to get one. So while Miami was reinventing itself, its president was being cast in bronze by a different franchise for a different life. And this is the man who refused to blink when his best player walked out. He didn't tank. He didn't rebuild. He restocked. Norman Powell arrived in July in a 3-team deal with Utah, a 32-year-old scorer coming off the best year of his career. Simone Fontecchio came in, Davion Mitchell was re-signed, and with the pick they'd taken off Golden State, they drafted a 19-year-old Lithuanian guard named Kasparas Jakučionis. No superstar, no savior. Just parts. Chapter 4, Embracing the Unknown. Which brings us to the man whose job it was to make those parts mean something. Media Day, September 29th, 2025. Erik Spoelstra sits down in front of the cameras and, Instead of selling a title run, says the honest thing. There's an element of unknown with this team, and it has invigorated him. He is embracing the unknown. Coaches don't say that. Coaches promise. Spoelstra told the truth. He did not know what this team was. Then in January, something quietly historic happened around him. Greg Popovich had retired the year before. Mike Tomlin stepped away from the Steelers. John Harbaugh was let go in Baltimore. And Erik Spoelstra, who signed an 8-year, $120 million extension back in 2024, became the longest-tenured active head coach in any of the 4 major North American sports leagues. Everything around him changed. The star left, the roster turned over, the league emptied out. He is the last constant in American professional sports. So no, it's not the same Miami Heat, but it's still his. Chapter 5, the new identity. And here's where it gets interesting, because the new Heat did not look like the old Heat at all. Norman Powell's debut, October 22nd, in Orlando. 28 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, in a 125-121 loss. That's the season in one game. Real production, no result. November 14th, he drops a season-high 38 against the Knicks. Most channels would show you that number and move on. Here's the whole truth. Miami lost 140-130. He scored 38, and it wasn't close to enough. That's the honest version of the early season. Flashes of something new, without the wins to prove it, except in one place nobody expected, the NBA Cup. Miami went 3-1 in group play, lost a head-to-head tiebreaker to the New York Knicks, the team that would go on to win the Cup and then the whole championship, and still advanced to the knockout round on point differential, a team with no star in the quarterfinals. Orlando ended it, but they were there. Kel'el Ware, the 7-footer they'd taken 15th overall out of Indiana, went for 28 points and 19 rebounds against New York in December. Jakuchionis and Pele Larson found real minutes. Jaime Jaquez Jr. rebuilt his career. And in January, Bam Adebayo put up 30 points and 12 rebounds to beat the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder, 122-120. Then on February 1st, Norman Powell was named an Eastern Conference All-Star Reserve. 32 years old, second-round pick, 11 years, 4 franchises, first All-Star team of his life. The rebuild had a star, just not the one anybody planned for. Chapter 6, 2 days before. Now here's the beat that almost nobody knows, and it's the one that makes everything after it land. March 8th, 2026, Detroit. Bam Adebayo scores 24 points in a 121-110 win, and somewhere in the middle of an ordinary Sunday, he crosses 10,000 career points as a member of the Miami Heat. There is exactly one other player in the history of this franchise who has done that. Not LeBron James, not Alonzo Mourning, not Chris Bosh, not Jimmy Butler. Dwyane Wade, that's the club. Wade and Adebayo, a kid taken 14th overall in 2017 out of Kentucky, who spent his first 3 years off the bench, who made his name as a defender, who was somebody else's second option for 6 seasons, and who had quietly become the second leading scorer this franchise has ever had. He was averaging 18.9 points a game at the time. Career average, 15.8. Career high, 41 points once. 2 days later, he scored 83. Chapter 7, 83. March 10th, 2026. Kaseya Center. The Washington Wizards, 16-47, come to Miami to play a Heat team sitting 7th in the East on a 5-game winning streak. Adebayo scores the first 7 points of the game. Then he scores 18 of the next 20. By the end of the first quarter, he has 31 points, a franchise record for a single quarter, and he has personally outscored the entire Washington roster, 31-29. Read that again. One man up on 5. He sits 7 minutes of the second, comes back. With 41 seconds left in the half, he gets fouled on a layup, and that basket takes him past the best game he'd ever played in his life. He hits the free throw, 43 at the break. Third quarter, 19 more. He passes Nikola Jokic season high of 56, and in the final minute, off a Drew Smith steal, he dunks to reach 62, breaking the Miami Heat franchise record for points in a game, which had belonged to LeBron James since 2014. He's not close to done. 9 minutes left in the fourth, and then one puts him at 70, and Erik Spoelstra makes a decision that he would defend 2 days later in 4 words. They had to go for it. Everything runs through Adebayo now, and the game stops being a game. Washington's head coach called it, out loud, not a real basketball game, and he wasn't wrong. Miami is up 27 and starts intentionally fouling to stop the clock and get the ball back. Washington counters by fouling anybody except Adebayo. Then they start double-teaming him, then triple-teaming him. At one point, 4 Wizards, 1 minute 37 left, fouled, 2 free throws, 81 points. Kobe Bryant's number matched. 1 minute 16, fouled again, 2 more, 83. Miami won 150 to 129, second most points in the history of the NBA, behind one name, Wilt Chamberlain, 1962. Ahead of Kobe, ahead of everybody else who has ever played. 36 free throws made on 43 attempts. Both of those are league records that had stood for decades. He shot 22 threes, a man who does not shoot 22 threes. Spoelstra takes him out. The building stands up. His teammates empty water bottles over his head while he's still on camera, and Norman Powell physically takes the microphone off the sideline reporter to ask his own teammate what it feels like to be in that company. And Adebayo, exhausted, says it out loud. Wilt, me, then Kobe. Which sounds crazy. 2 days later, Miami beat Milwaukee and passed their entire win total from the previous season. Chapter 8, The Argument. Now, if this were a normal highlight channel, that's where the video ends. But what happened next tells you more about this team than the 83 ever could, because a large part of the basketball world decided it didn't count. Robert Horry said 83 was impressive, but there were moments where the sport wasn't respected. Gordon Hayward said it made the league look bad, that it felt like a pickup game. Kelly Oubre Jr. openly downplayed it. ESPN's Tim McMahon called the closing stretch hideous. Sam Amick argued Adebayo should have simply stopped at 81, out of respect for Kobe. And on March 12th, Bam Adebayo was asked about all of it. His answer was 7 words long, and it went straight through the middle of the argument. You should be blaming the head coach. He kept going. He was not the one, he said, being left one-on-one the entire game until he had 70. And only then did they start sending a double, which is factually exactly what happened. He didn't apologize. He didn't posture. He pointed at the tactical reality and let it sit. And the best defense of him came from a man who had no reason to give it. Giannis Antetokounmpo, at that point still a Milwaukee Buck, still a rival, was asked and said this: "It doesn't matter how you get there. In 10, 20, 30 years, nobody's going to remember how many free throws he shot. Nobody remembers how many shots Kobe took. You remember 81. You remember 100. And Dwyane Wade, the only other man in that 10,000-point club, called him his little brother and said he was proud of him. And Pat Riley caught him in the tunnel afterward, and what the 80-year-old architect of Heat culture said to his center was this: I would have taken you out at 70. You did it. Remember that line. It's about to mean something else entirely. Chapter 9, The Ankle. Because here's where the season turns, and it turns hard. From March 10th onward, the defense fell apart. One of the worst defensive stretches in the league. They went winless, completely winless, against Toronto, Boston, and Orlando across 13 combined games. All that momentum gone. They finished 43-39, 10th in the East, 4th straight year in the play-in tournament. April 14th, Charlotte. Early in the second quarter, LaMelo Ball has a fadeaway blocked and goes to the floor. Adebayo moves in for the rebound, and Ball, lying underneath him, reaches out and grabs his left ankle. Adebayo goes down hard on his lower back. He gets up slowly. He walks off gingerly, and he does not come back. The league later fined Ball $35,000 and upgraded the play to a flagrant 2. After the game, after the season was already over, because the officials never blew it in real time, and play just carried on. Spoelstra didn't soften a word of it. He didn't think it was cute. He didn't think it was funny. He called it a stupid play, a dangerous play, and said Ball should have been thrown out. Tyler Herro said he had never seen Adebayo limp like that in his life, and Miami almost won anyway. Without him, they led 114 to 111 late. Charlotte tied it, and Harrow missed a 28-footer at the buzzer to win it in regulation. In overtime, Harrow hit 3 free throws to put Miami up 126 to 125 with 8.7 seconds left. And then LaMelo Ball drove, got loose, and laid it in with 4.7 on the clock. 127 to 126. Last possession. Miami's season on it, and the ball goes to Davion Mitchell, the guard who arrived in the Jimmy Butler trade 14 months earlier, who gets his shot blocked at the buzzer by Miles Bridges. Season over, no playoffs, for the first time since 2019. And one more thing, because it deserves saying, Charlotte lost their very next play-in game to Orlando and didn't make the playoffs either. All of that for nothing. Chapter 10, not going anywhere. 13 days later, Pat Riley sat down in front of the cameras again. 81 years old, a statue in Los Angeles, his name on the floor in Miami, and a season that produced the second greatest scoring game in history and ended with his center on the trainer's table. He wasn't retiring, he wasn't resigning, he wasn't stepping aside, and he was not, in his own words, going to apologize for being a play-in team. Then he went out and proved he meant it. On July 6, 2026, the Miami Heat traded Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Jakučionis, the draft rights to Nate Ament, and 4 more future picks to Milwaukee for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis, the man who defended Bam Adebayo when half the league wouldn't now plays next to him. 4 days after that, Norman Powell signed a 2-year, $45 million deal in Chicago, an all-star for exactly 1 season in Miami, and gone. Now I'll be straight with you, because this channel doesn't do fairy tales. Giannis is 31. He played a career-low 36 games last season with calf and knee problems, and Milwaukee missed the playoffs for the first time in 9 years. This is not a guaranteed anything, but go back to where we started. In January of 2026, Jimmy Butler tore his ACL and lost his season in a game against the Miami Heat. That's how the old era actually ended, not with a trade, with a knee on Miami's floor. And 2 months later, the man who'd spent 6 years standing politely behind him scored 83 points, then took his 6th all-defensive selection and the league's Social Justice Champion award in the same spring. So, same franchise, same building, same coach, same president, different everything else. They lost their star and won more games. They put a man in the record book next to Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant and still missed the playoffs. They lost to a team that lost immediately afterward, and then they went out and got a 2-time MVP. That's not a rebuild. That's a franchise that refuses to be told what it is. So what do you think? Success or failure? 83 points, a first-time All-Star, and no playoffs. I can't call it, so tell me below. Drop your take in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss what happens when Giannis puts that jersey on. This is Trophy Life, and we'll see you in the next one.